All right, today we are diving into the life of one of history's most incredible figures, Hazrat Ali ibn Abi Talib. You've got this warrior, this scholar, this leader. His story is just a masterclass in courage, wisdom, and an unwavering belief system that has resonated for, well, over 1,400 years.
So, what is it really? What makes a legacy truly timeless? To get to the bottom of that, we're going to explore the key moments and principles that absolutely defined Ali's incredible life. So, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll journey through 5 key parts of his life, starting with his one-of-a-kind beginning as the Lion of Allah, then his role as the Prophet's sword, his compassionate rule as Caliph, his huge contributions as the Gate of Knowledge, and finally, the powerful, enduring legacy he left for all of us. Let's start right at the very beginning. Ali's entry into the world was as unique as the life he was destined to lead, and it earned him the title, Asadullah, which means the Lion of Allah.
Now get this, because his early life is just a series of extraordinary firsts. He was born inside the most sacred site in all of Islam, the Kaaba. Think about that. Then he was raised not just near, but in the home of the Prophet Muhammad himself, basically soaking up his wisdom and character from day one. And then, at just 10 years old, he becomes the very first young person to accept Islam. That just shows you the kind of conviction he had even as a kid. And this quote, wow, it just perfectly illustrates the depth of their relationship. This wasn't just, a family bond between cousins. It was this profound spiritual connection. The Prophet's words here suggest a totally inseparable link, a shared essence and mission that would define both of their lives. And that profound loyalty, it wasn't just about words. It was literally forged in fire. So now we're going to turn to Ali's role as the ultimate defender of the faith, something he proved time and time and time again on the battlefield.
This really sets the scene perfectly. In the early days of Islam, the community was facing threats that could have wiped them out. And in those absolute make-or-break moments, Ali consistently stepped up, becoming a living shield for the Prophet and the new faith.
This timeline just shows how central he was to their survival. The night the Prophet had to escape Mecca, Ali slept in his bed as a decoy for assassins. That's an act of unbelievable self-sacrifice. Then, in battle after battle, he wasn't just some soldier. He was the standard bearer, the champion who would go out and face the enemy's best warrior one-on-one, and he consistently turned the tide. Okay, let's put his impact into perspective. At the huge Battle of Badr, 70 of the enemy's leaders were killed. Well, sources say Ali was directly involved in taking down more than half of them, over 50%. That's not just battlefield skill, that's strategic dominance. And for this small, vulnerable community, that show of strength was a massive morale boost, and it cemented Ali's reputation as their unbeatable champion.
The Battle of Uhud. This was almost a total disaster. The Muslim lines broke, the Prophet himself was wounded, isolated, and while so many others fled, Ali, even though he was wounded and his sword was shattered, he became a human shield. Every time a new wave of attackers charged, the Prophet would just call out, "Ya Ali," and Ali would drive them back. He was quite literally the last line of defense.
But see, Ali was so much more than a warrior. When he eventually became the 4th caliph, his focus shifted to justice and governance. And honestly, his principles are still profoundly relevant today. So this is what's so crucial. This famous letter he wrote, it's basically a manual for how to be an ethical leader. He sent it to his new governor in Egypt, and he didn't just tell him what to do, he laid out the entire philosophy behind how to govern with compassion and with total integrity. This single line, this is the core of his entire political philosophy. He's telling his governor to treat every single person with mercy and kindness, no matter what their faith is. He's establishing this universal bond of humanity that goes way beyond religious differences, a truly radical idea for his time, and let's be honest, for ours too.
And he got super practical with it. Look at these principles. Choose your team based on their character, not who they know. Protect the vulnerable above all else. Actively go after corruption. Always prioritize peace. And maybe most importantly, don't hide away in a palace. Be available to the people you serve. This is the blueprint for servant leadership.
So Ali's physical strength was only matched by his incredible intellectual power. The Prophet famously called him the gate to the city of knowledge, and his contributions to Islamic thought and, believe it or not, language itself are just immense. So much of his wisdom is preserved in this amazing collection, the Naj al-Balagha.
It's considered a masterpiece of Arabic literature, and people study it for both its deep spiritual insights and its sheer rhetorical power. It has everything from detailed theological discussions to that amazing letter we just talked about.
And this right here shows you his practical genius at work. As Islam started to spread, he noticed that new converts were making little errors in Arabic, which could actually change the meaning of the Quran. So he didn't just correct them, he created a whole system. He laid down the very first principles of grammar, identifying nouns, verbs, particles, and then he tasked a companion to build on it. He literally founded the science of Arabic grammar, called Nahwa, all to preserve the language.
You know, a life that's lived with so much conviction often comes at a great cost. And now we turn to his final days and the powerful legacy that continues to inspire millions.
His end came not on a battlefield, but in a mosque, while he was deep in prayer. He was struck down by an assassin from an extremist group that opposed him. And even in his final moments, suffering from this fatal wound, his advice was that his killer should be treated with justice, not with revenge.
This quote from one of his letters, it really feels like a perfect summary of his entire life, doesn't it? It's a call to fulfill your duties to God while facing every single challenge life throws at you, with unwavering courage, a philosophy he embodied from his first day right to his last breath.
So we end right back where we started. Ali's life really forces us to ask, in a world that is so full of division and injustice, what can we learn from a leader who championed universal compassion, absolute integrity, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge? His blueprint for a just world, well, it feels more urgent now than ever before.